I mean, stomach sinking, heart beating out of your chest, it's not fun. And, I imagine back in the day, when we were faced with like an angry bear or an opposing tribe, it was a good thing. But now it hasn't adapted to what we now perceive as threats. Things like leaving your job, or getting married, or getting divorced, or, speaking in public. And so, with this thing, it hasn't adapted, and I think that it can turn people away from points of courage. I think that the physical feeling of fear is enough to just, turn people away. And that's tragic, because if you don't allow yourself to explore your fears and understand what you're actually afraid of, there's no chance that you can overcome this or even act with it. So the next time your heart races and your knees feel weak, hit the pause button. Make sure you're not having a heart attack. And then, explore that feeling, because you may have arrived at a point of courage. But what happens if you've arrived at a point of courage and you're paralyzed? Frozen. Fear has a funny way of doing this. I know it well. So I was in basic training, and that's Army for boot camp. So we were standing at the position of attention, which is like this, for 45 minutes waiting to get into a classroom. And our drill sergeants were bored. Now, bored drill sergeants are nothing to trifle with. And to alleviate their boredom, what they did was they started playing what they affectionately call reindeer games. Ladies and gentlemen, reindeer games are not fun to play. They're not. These packs of wide-brimmed hats would stalk our ranks, looking for loose uniform threads or missing patches. They'd be checking to see if we memorized certain things. And out of the corner of my eye, I was staying in position of attention, out of the corner of my eye, I see the meanest drill sergeant Bowles, start charging my way. And in that moment, I prayed to God. I hoped that the camouflage that I was wearing worked just a little bit better than the guy standing next to me. It didn't. So Drill Sergeant Bowles screeched to a halt inches from my face. And he says, "Private Burns, are you an American soldier?" I thought to myself, yeah, hey, I've been here for 2 weeks, right? "Yes, Drill Sergeant." He said, "Oh, so you're a soldier, huh? You must be a warrior. Let me hear your war cry." This is where my prefrontal cortex shut down. I didn't know what a war cry was. I saw Full Metal Jacket, and I still didn't know what a war cry was. I didn't know where I was at the moment. And so the sound, I knew I had to do something, but the sound that escaped my lips sounded like a stray cat drowning. And the look on Drill Sergeant Bowles' face was just utter disgust. So before he could react to anything, to what had just happened to him, I just hit the deck. I started doing push-ups right there. Like, I knew it was coming, right? I just started doing push-ups. And so I was down there doing push-ups, and as I pushed, something kind of cool happened. It was like the gears in my head started turning again. They crept into life. And I started remembering, oh, yep, I'm at Fort Leonard Wood. Yeah, this is Army basic training, and I just messed up. And I started to get mad at myself. I started to process things and get angry with myself. And I sat there, I was pushing, 600, 700 push-ups or something like that. And I got to a point where I was just so furious. And Drill Sergeant Bowles finally gave me another shot. And this time I stood up and I let loose a war cry that shook his boots. Not really, he was unimpressed. But the fact of the matter is that I felt great. So later on that night, I was trying to process what had just happened. And I thought to myself, what if it was me moving that got me unstuck What if it was that physical movement that helped me become unfrozen? But guys, it didn't actually click. The dots didn't connect until years later in that police training. Do you remember what we were talking about? Your body's physiological response to fear? Your mind starts doing this stuff because it's preparing your body to move. It's preparing your body to fight or flee. And so in that moment, moving, pushing, that was the most natural thing I could do. It was like I was embracing what my body was already getting ready for. And it really works. I use this all the time now. So whenever I have a really tough business call to make, I pace. And whenever I have a really hard decision, I take a walk. And I do something else when I feel really panicked. I want everybody to do this with me. Sure, bring your shoulders up to your ears. Take a deep breath and let it out and relax. Doesn't that feel great? The mind-body connection is powerful. And so if you start to become afraid and frozen, move. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've moved around a lot on stage. That's no accident. Because I am terrified right now. How many people are afraid of public speaking? Good, you should be. This is a challenge. As soon as I walked out, my knees were weak, my stomach was through the floor, my heart's been beating out of my chest. It's been a challenge. But the reason why I'm here, the reason why I'm facing this fear, is because I'm so passionate about helping people seize these points of courage. And I believe that we don't all need to be fearless, but instead we can learn to act fearlessly. Now this is really cliche to ask, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Imagine what you could accomplish if you could learn how to act fearlessly. What jumps would you take? What passions would you pursue? And what impact could you make? Guys, I challenge each and every one of you just to try the tool set that we talked about here today. Arrive at points of courage as soon as you can. Explore what your mind and your body are telling you. And then finally, take action. Physically move. I think every single one of us in this room has the capability for great things. It's just on the other side of fear. So stop trying to be fearless and learn how to act fearlessly. Thanks, guys.